YouTube, we are back with another video talking about this season's best APCs. So, similar to last season, this will be a two-parter. The first part is going to be talking about many different types of APCs. The second video is going to be talking about basically putting those into 5 for the best possible kind of 5 stack that you can go. So, first things first, we're going to talk about the new heroes and see if there are any good combinations with the 2 new heroes. There are. Super Killer right now is arguably the best hero in the game. Meaning you can basically put her with every single APC that Raven could have gone in last season, and it'll perform slightly better than the Raven combinations from last season. So at the very end of the season, oftentimes it ended up with Raven, Hunk, and then Thunderbolt. And that right now is a very good combination. It's just a full fighter combination that survives forever due to the fighter durability. And Super Killer does so much damage. She can easily have 300,000 skill kills. Thunderbolt can, supplant a bunch of skill kills himself. This is a very good combo. It's reminiscent basically of the Fallen Raven version of this from last season. Now, more combinations with Super Killer not involving those heroes that we already had. You can run this combination, which again, very reminiscent of last season with Fallen Raven. This works incredibly well. It's the same thing. It's one of each vehicle type or one of each troop type, meaning you get those bonuses from the USB. It's very strong. Flash is doing amazing right now. She's a very strong hero, and Super Killer being arguably the best just makes this an amazing combination. Now, there are more. You can run iFan and Flash. This works really well for similar reasons. iFan is just a really strong support. However, this does take away from the Annie iFan Mech Pilot combination. But if you have these heroes, it's a very good combo. You can then still run Fallen Raven, Hunk Thunder, and you'll have several really strong combinations. Now, one of the things with Super Killer is that she cannot be paired up with Fallen Raven or with Beast or with Annie. They basically just need to be on their own. So, just do with that as you will. If you really only have like Super Killer, Fallen Raven, and maybe one other hero, like, I don't know, let's just say Mech Pilot, this isn't going to be very good. You're better off using a support, like an older support, for example. Maybe even Diver, or I don't even know. You could probably go further down the list. Kung Fu Master would be a good support as well. So that's it for Super Killer. I shouldn't say that's it. There's a ton, basically. As long as you have her, a good carry hero, so even Hammer, you can use Hammer and then use iFan, for example. This is going to work very well. It's very similar to kind of some of the older combinations that we used to see. So as long as you have Super Killer and a really good carry, Mech Pilot, I should show, obviously this works very well. So yeah, Super Killer is fantastic. If you have her, absolutely use her with any APC. It doesn't really matter. As far as her weapons go, the weapons that you should be using, in general, you want to be using anything that increases fighter might or fighter damage. Even if you have something like, this combination here, where you have one of each type, you have a fighter, a vehicle, and a shooter hero. Putting 2 fighter might or fighter damage weapons on this APC is going to be good. Flash is still going to do a lot of damage. Yes, she is losing out on, maybe like 100 or so might, but you're getting that extra resistance, extra HP, extra might on Super Killer, so it's still really good. So if you have a shooter weapon that has like damage for all unit types or might for all unit types, then use that. But if you just use 2 really strong fighter weapons in any combination with Super Killer, it'll do very well. So keep that in mind as well. Now let's talk about Former Mayor. Former Mayor doesn't really have a super strong APC. Outside of this is essentially the only APC that you can run right now with Former Mayor. However, the problem is Thunderbolt, like I just showed, is oftentimes going with Super Killer, or you can just use Hunk instead of Mayor, and it's similar. It's similar in strength. It's kind of like Tuner versus Jackie. It doesn't really matter which one you use. In certain circumstances, one is going to be better than the other. But this is essentially the only combination you can run right now with former Mayor. I'm sure there will be, heroes that come out with curses or burns or whatever in the future, but for now, this is literally the only one you can run. And it's not amazing, especially because Thunderbolt is usually being paired up with Super Killer right now. But if you're doing something like Super Killer iFan Flash or Super Killer Azure Flash, you can, in fact, still run this combination. So that's basically it for the 2 new heroes. Super Killer has, the option of everything. You can even run something like this if you have the Walking Dead heroes as well. I don't believe I have Maggie. Yes, I don't have any copies of Maggie. So we're just going to use the mechanic in place of Maggie. Just pretend this is Maggie. I don't have her unlocked. So if you run something like this, you could even run vehicles or whatever. This is even still pretty good. Just because Super Killer is just so overpowered, it doesn't really matter what you're running as long as you have supports with her. And yeah, as long as you basically have supports with her, she's going to be incredibly, incredibly strong. So moving forward, we still have this tried and true APC. It's been around for a long time now at this point, several seasons. It's still insanely good. It's very, very strong, very hard to kill. It's surprisingly hard to kill. Annie is incredibly tanky. And then just everyone in here honestly provides just so much. Mech is actually a really, really good support. She is a damage dealer. She's a carry hero, but she does a lot of support, a surprising amount. So this combination is still top tier, very, very strong. You can, if you don't have Wasteland Outlaw, you can run other supports. So you can run Kung Fu. It might not be as good, but it's okay. Azure is not great, but it is an option to run. You can run Maggie. Again, not great, but it exists. And you can even run Robust Cannon. This is definitely a weaker version, but depending on what you have, sometimes you have to make it work. It's not the worst APC in the world, surprisingly. So moving on with Mech Pilot. Mech Pilot right now basically is this combination. If you don't have Annie, like you don't have the SP heroes, you can run Raven. It's still going to be really, really good. Ignore the troop types. Generally just ignore the troop types in these types of videos. You can run her with Angel. This is still going to be very strong. Or you can run her with Beast. And it will work. It will still work very, very well. So if you don't have Annie, it's totally fine. Beast in general is kind of being a free agent right now. So you can run something like this and it'll work very, very well. And then we have another just classic combo that we've seen for a very long time at this point. Tuner, Cyclone, Nightingale. Now, Jackie, so I actually don't have Jackie on this base either. So we use the Viper in place of Jackie. Jackie right now with her new skin is pretty much synonymous with Tuner. So I personally just like to run the Jackie because I think it just adds, it kind of an X factor. When everyone is basically running Cyclone, Tuner, Cyclone, Nightingale, the Jackie combination can beat that even if you are a little bit weaker. But in general, this combination just absolutely rips people apart. If you are stronger than someone and you use this combo, you flatten them. It's very, very good for if you know your opponent is weaker. You just have way more stats than them. Using this combination will deplete their troops insanely fast. If you use something like, Fallen Raven, Mayor, Thunderbolt, you're not going to kill them that much. They have opportunities to build up damage reduction. They have opportunities to hurt you, and they have opportunities to heal. Whereas this combination can just kill you in 1 round or 2 rounds. So this one still works. It's still really, really good. Again, you can replace Tuner with Jackie if you have the skin. It's totally fine. Now, there is a new flexibility for heroes like this. It's a crossbow ability. I will be doing a video on the best flexibilities soon. That'll be coming out soon. And this combination does get a mediocre buff with that flexibility. So we have some more combinations that we can talk about. Those are kind of the best of the best, but not everybody has the best heroes. So this is a combination that has been ran for quite a long time, and it still works wonders. You can run like this. So 2 sets of fighters. Fighters are just really, really strong. You would think, okay, you can put these shooters here, but in general, fighters are just incredibly strong. This is usually just a defensive APC here. But yeah, certainly if you have very high USB, you have all the stuff to have. Like if you have one, basically there's a benefit to having every single troop type. You get benefits for having like a shooter in your party, a vehicle in your party, and a fighter in your party. So this can do really well. But honestly, the fighters just work wonders. Fighters are just incredibly resilient right now. And if you sit here, this is in your garrison, or reinforcing somebody, this can just take a lot of hits. So it's still a very good combination. A little lower tier, I guess, but still really, really, really solid. And then, like I said, Beast is sort of a free agent right now. Super Killer kind of replaces Beast. So you can just run Beast in basically any combination, any combination that you have. Diver's an interesting hero. She's sort of fallen out of the meta. So everyone kind of at this point and below, Diver, Glowblade, all of these heroes are pretty much out of the meta with the exception of Cyclone. You can run some interesting things, like if you don't have any of the good supports, you can run some supports from a little earlier on, but that's kind of the exception. Right now, tanks, there are just an insane amount of really, really strong tanks. There's Super Killer, Fallen Raven, Annie, Angel, and Beast. They're all just very, very good tanks. So there's basically 5 amazing tanks. So you might as well just use one of those heroes in every single combination. Tuner is not necessarily a tank, but he does go in the front row in that combo. So again, I'll show you guys some of my favorite APCs now that we've kind of gone over all of them. And I would just say the overall sort of like best of the best APCs. So this is, in my opinion, the single best APC in the game. That doesn't mean that it kills everything. No APC in this game currently, in this season, currently just kills every single APC. It's not like when Annie was released and there was just no way to kill her unless you had Annie. This combination does lose to other APCs all the time. But in my opinion, it beats the most of the other top APCs. So I really like to run this. A lot of people are really high up on either Azure Flash or Wasteland Outlaw Flash. Flash is just really, really strong on her own right, and so having a really good support along with it just works wonders, and then you basically just have Super Killer doing pretty much Super Killer things. So this is an S tier APC for sure. Very, very, very strong. You can still run Fallen Raven, Azure Flash, and it basically gets rid of nothing. This sort of just retains what you had. You can still run the Super Killer Thunderbolt stuff. And probably the 3rd or 4th best APC in the game. Anywhere from 2nd to 4th best, they're kind of all the same. This could be the 2nd best, could be the 3rd, or the 4th best. Then after this, things kind of slow down. So right now, really the major carry heroes are Flash and Mech Pilot. There aren't really that many after that, which kind of makes it so you have to be using, you kind of have to be using one of them in a different combination. And then it basically just makes like, okay, you have 3 really good combinations, one with Flash, one with Mech Pilot, and one with Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is the other good carry hero I forgot to mention. So as long as you just have one APC with each of these heroes in it, it'll be very, very, very strong. And then similarly, as long as you have an APC with one of these supports, or if you don't have Annie, you can replace with Angel or Beast. It just depends. If you have the SB heroes, you have them. If you just have one of these tanks, it'll be very, very strong. And then one of these supports, it'll be a very, very strong APC. So those are kind of like the top 4 or 5 APCs in my opinion. A lot of them basically just revolve around Super Killer. She's just, like I said, probably the single best hero in the game. And if you just want to know straight up best APC, it is this APC, in my opinion. You can just run full fighter stuff on here, full fighter weapons. It's really, really strong, really versatile. And yeah, you don't have to have like damage of all unit types or might of all unit types, which are very, very rare. You could just have like the Faith and Frenzy Axe that we got from the Mech weapon event, plop it on here, rank them up. It's just insanely, insanely strong. You can basically just boost up all your USB for fighters for this season first, and you're just going to absolutely whoop butt. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you have a sense of, a bunch of really, really strong APCs, and you kind of have an idea of how to formulate them. If you're missing one of these heroes, it's totally fine. You can plug in a different hero, and it might be a step down, but it's still going to be really good. Like if you don't have Super Killer, that's fine. You have Fallen Raven. He's just sort of a half step down from Super Killer. If you don't have either of them, you'll still have Beast. Beast is, another step down from Fallen Raven. If you don't have Beast, hopefully you have Angel. And if you have none of these newest heroes, unfortunate. I don't know what to say. So I have a bunch of videos coming out soon. We'll have basically formulating 5 really, really strong APCs, which for a lot of people, for the bigger bases who have all these heroes, that's arguably more important. That video will be coming out in 2 days after you see this, so it might already be out by the time you watch this. I will have a top flex ability for every hero video coming out tomorrow after this video, which will kind of just dive deeper into the real inner workings of all these heroes, and basically just make you overpowered. And then we just have a lot more on the way. So stay tuned. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.